Hey Mom, here's the update.
With your favorite daughters,
Natalie
and Netanya.
Welcome back. Last week we did not have an episode because we did in fact record one in the car on our way to get coffee and the audio got all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So last week we did personal episodes for each of our 3 top viewers, Mom, Auntie, and Darian.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why there was a little lull in our podcast schedule, but we're back better than ever on this rainy, dreary day.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to kick it off, Netanya, with some Frolicking and Friends, what you've been up to these last 2 weeks?
2 weeks? Well, let me tell you, not much. My biggest frolicking with friends was going to Oklahoma City with you to meet Auntie. That was a lot of fun. I actually very much enjoyed that.
Yeah.
We just went and stayed for a night, but it was chill and we had some drinks and we ate good food and we went to a cute little coffee shop and I had a good time.
I agree. I did too. Yeah, it was just 24 hours and the drive there and back really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
We had some good Thai food, went to a cute bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other frolicking?
Oh, Ruben and I went to dinner.
Where'd you go?
2 weekends ago. There's a sushi place near his apartment that we like.
Nice.
So that was good. I love sushi. I frolicked to the nail salon this morning and got my nails done.
And they're so cute.
Just by myself though, not with my friends.
It's okay.
So, but it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
What have you been frolicking?
Well, I had just a little frolicking over the last couple weeks. It's been
a little
chiller couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Couple days ago, I went to book club with my friend Dessa, which was great.
Heard about that yet.
It was good. They did A Court of Wings and Ruin, which is the third.
The pink cover?
Yes.
Okay.
The war one.
Yeah.
But it was
boring.
There was a great group, and actually, it turned out to be really fun because as the format that they do is they kind of just summarize and we talk as we go through the book. Mm-hmm. But I brought my cover, and so I was kind of flipping through all the pages, and it was like a little mini reread.
Nice.
And every time they get to these big points, I could read the actual text, and it was like, honestly, I need to reread those series. Yeah. That series.
How long ago did we read those? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine.
My new thing this week's podcast is stop interrupting Natalie.
No, you're fine. Well, we read them over a year ago.
Okay.
January of 2024. So, yeah, but I was reminded it's actually a really good story and writing, and I should reread them. So,
yeah.
So I had book club. And then I had small group. I didn't go last night, but I went the week before, which was the actual Bible study, and that part was great. Had a call with my friend Rachel.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's what I've been up to.
Good. Oh, one of my friends in Michigan texted me and said, I heard you're moving out here. So that was nice to get a little text from her. I'm accumulating friends before I move out there. So
there you go.
I'm excited.
Well, shall we move on to the report?
The report.
The report.
Yes. This week's R, as always, is for reading.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been reading?
All right. Well, 2 weeks ago, I was reading a book recommended by a friend, and the book was not for me, but that's okay. The book was called Death Becomes Her. It seemed kind of basic, in my opinion. Wasn't my favorite thing. The plot was all right, but the writing was just not the best. What?
Natalie told me that the only thing she got out of this book was how not to write a book.
Well, it was that, as someone who's in the process of also writing a book with my friend Rachel.
You're done writing.
I am done. It's in. Mom printed out the book. I know, but Mom printed out my book because she's gonna read it. It was so sweet.
You should bind a copy.
I should learn how. Her work has a laser printer, so she printed it there, which means she printed it for much cheaper than my inkjet. Anywho,
nice.
But no, yeah, reading this book, it was like, oh yeah, these are probably some common pitfalls that a newer writer might fall into. So it was just a good learning experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so I read that one. Then after that, I read Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the new Hunger Games prequel, which is Hamish Abernathy's games. So the 50th, the Quarter Quell. And that one was phenomenal. Loved it.
I need to read that. I need to finish
Yeah.
reading the original Hunger Games.
No, I do too, honestly. There's so many connections. And the movie for this new book is going to come out November 2026. So I just am so excited. And then currently, I am reading a book, a nonfiction called
Tomato.
I know, tomato. Yes. So it's called The Good Death.
Mm-hmm.
I found out about this book because the author was a guest on the 1,000 Hours Outside podcast. And this episode that she was on was incredible. I cried my way through it. It was so good. And it's just all talking about how to help others at the end of life, and also just like to think about things in advance and make decisions so it could be easier on people.
Yeah.
I will say I'm 68% through, some 2/3. And I think the episode that she did on 1,000 Hours Outside has everything you need to know.
I need to listen to that.
Yeah, I would say it's a must listen. The book, I've been listening on audio, and it's definitely a book that's like you need to have it in person, like read it.
Yeah.
There's some like exercise worksheet stuff that I'll probably see if I can print off from her website. But yeah, the episode, fantastic. Everyone should listen to it.
Good. The whole topic of that has brought up interesting discussion about just life and death and being prepared and knowing what you want when you die. Anyway.
Yeah.
So be prepared, everyone, that when we are all together for Easter, we're all planning our funerals.
Yep, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Natalie's is just going to be, we're just going to play Taylor Swift the whole time. And that's all.
I will say this book.
I'll do a dramatic reading from your book.
Oh, perfect.
At your funeral.
No. I will say part of this book, it has been so informative. One, talking about all the different options you have for funerals or how you want your body preserved or not preserved. Do you want to be in a casket? Do you want to be, there's apparently a new thing called like aqua cremation. It's not legal in all states apparently, but there's like lots of interesting options that.
How do you aqua cremate someone?
It's like water and
dissolve
chemicals.
Them?
Yeah. You get the water and you can water plants.
Oh my gosh. Wait.
It's crazy.
Make a lava lamp out of mine.
Oh my God. Yeah. Anyways, it's been a fascinating read.
We can make Darian's into a fish tank.
It would probably kill all the fish. Anyways, if you're really interested in the topic, I would say the book is worth it. Just talking about different types of funerals and questions to ask. And you can do you can write your own eulogy, like in first person, and then someone can read it. It's just fascinating. Things you don't think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, get ready. Come Easter, crazy. I'm going to make everyone fill out these worksheets.
Yeah. Good.
On that note.
I want to be prepared.
Yeah. Okay, what have you been reading?
Okay, I have been reading, last podcast I was reading the book When She Returned, and I finished that book. Boo.
Tomato.
I hated it. It was just nothing really important happened the whole book. It was fine up until I realized that I was at the end of the book, and I was like, what has even happened?
And there's no sequel or anything, it just ended?
Yeah, it just ended. And I was like, the plot twist was like something that I called it. Not for me. Then I read in one day. I read Riley Sager's "The Only One Left," which I thought was really good. I give it probably like a 4 or 4.5. I listened to some of the audiobook while I did a puzzle. That's been my new thing. Is normally I just put on a show like that I've seen before while I do a puzzle, but I've been trying to listen to audiobooks. That way I can, kill 2 birds with one stone.
Yeah.
So I listened to a little bit of that book, but mostly just read that book. That was like 2 weeks ago. And then I read Once Upon a Broken Heart.
Yes.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Which I loved. It's like young adult fantasy. I just thought it was a good story. It was sweet. And it was kind of like, I just am enjoying the story. And it's a trilogy. So I'm on the second one right now, which is called A Ballad of Never After. And then I'm also reading a book called Sometimes I Lie, which is a thriller. And that one I'm like halfway through, and I've been just listening to the audiobook for that while I puzzle. So
I love that.
Yeah.
We have been reading.
We've been reading.
Been reading for sure.
All is well. I feel like I haven't actually been reading as much as I usually do. But the books that I'm reading are good. I do have several books from Libby on my Kindle right now that I need to read, and I need to read your book.
Yes.
So I have my next 7 books lined up that I'm going to read.
I love that.
So
yeah. Now we're going to move on to the E in report, which this week stands for entertainment. You want to talk, since you've been kind of chatting about your puzzling adventures?
Oh, yeah. I finished the puzzle that I was working on.
The cruise one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that one I feel like took me a fair amount of time.
Yeah.
I finished that one. Ruben helped me a little bit with it. So we kind of worked on it together to finish it, which was fun. Sometimes I don't like sharing my puzzles though, but it was good. Sometimes I just have to remind myself that I'm like, this is fun, be nice. Because sometimes I start working on a puzzle and someone comes to help and I'm like, I don't want to do this with you. But no, I do like doing puzzles with him. Yeah, so that was fun. And then the next puzzle I did was one that Darian, shout out Darian, gave me for Christmas, which was this. It was called Houseplant Jungle. And it was all these plants. It was a very green puzzle. I thought it was going to be really, really hard. And maybe I was just really good at puzzles. Probably. But I loved it. I finished it in 2 or 3 days. Which I'm recovering from a puzzling injury because I was sitting crisscross applesauce for the majority of the time I was working on this puzzle. And now my knee is a little out of whack. But that one I finished pretty quickly. I had a lot of fun doing that one, actually, because normally when I do puzzles, I start with the hardest part and then leave the fun parts for the end. But with this one, I'm like, I can't do it that way because the hard part would be all the green and it's going to be impossible to start with the green. So I started with all the bits that had other colors in them. I don't know. It went by so fast and it was fun. So I finished that puzzle. And then I have another puzzle that I'm going to start probably today. One that I think it was Mom got it for me for either Christmas 2 years ago or my birthday or something. It's the one that they had at Lauren. You know, the yoga studio with the plants. Anyway, I'm so excited for that one because it's just so cute.
Love that.
That has how I've been entertaining myself.
Yeah. Good.
I just love a puzzle.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, because I read Sunrise on the Reaping, I was in very much a Hunger Games mood. And because it's all about Haymitch, in the original trilogy, you don't know his whole backstory. And so after I read that one, I was piecing together all the the things he says and certain words or ways he behaves. So then right after I finished reading it, I was like, Blaine, you want to watch Hunger Games with me? So we watched the first one. And then we watched the very last one, Mockingjay Part 2. So nice little bookends. We were going to watch Catching Fire yesterday. We didn't get to it, but I think we'll do that soon. So I've been watching Hunger Games. And, also randomly, Blaine and I had gotten through almost 8 seasons of How I Met Your Mother. And then we paused for a long time. So we picked that back up again yesterday. So we have just 1 season left.
Nice.
So I've been watching How I Met Your Mother. And
you like it? Is it good?
I mean, compared to The Office or Parks and Rec, I wouldn't say it's that level. It's just a tier below. Yeah. It's decently funny. Okay, I would probably put it on Gilmore Girls levels from my perspective, where it's you could have it on the background, but it won't always hold your attention.
Yeah.
It's funny,
would you
but
consider it New Girl-esque?
Yeah, because
Brooklyn Nine-Nine-esque?
I probably feel like Brooklyn Nine-Nine's funnier. I haven't even seen that one, but I mean, New Girl, I couldn't get all the way through it. It lost my interest. I'd probably say it's like New Girl. Okay. So if you like New Girl, you probably like How I Met Your Mother. Anywho's. And then I've also been playing more Fortnite and I'm getting so good and I win games and it's been so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, did I tell you? Blaine and I, in Fortnite, you can buy, they call them skins. It's these different outfits. Blaine and I bought Mr. and Mrs. Incredible.
You did tell me that.
And it's just so fun now when we play.
Yesterday, I was going to go say hi and bye to Natalie before I left for work. And so I hollered up the stairs and her response was, what did you say? You're like, Blaine's up here, so don't piss him off. And I was like, what?
Here's what happened.
So then I went upstairs and And Blaine was like, huh? And I was like, huh? Well, what I said was, what? I would never piss off Blaine. But I didn't quite understand what you were saying.
Well, here's what happened is that Auntie had texted me and she's like, hey, do you have a second for a quick call?
Oh.
We had just finished a game and we were in the lobby, which is like you have about 60 seconds before it puts you into a new game.
Yeah.
So I texted her and I was like, yeah, I can talk right now if it's quick.
Mhm.
So she calls me, but it's right when the game is starting. So Blaine's trying to like whisper to me like, hey, drop that gun. Let me pick up that gun. But I'm talking to Auntie. And so then he also under his breath is like, this is not a good time for a call. So then finally I hang up with her. And then we're still in that same game when you come up the stairs. And Blaine had said, if another person interrupts this game. And so that's when I said.
When I hollered? Oh.
Yeah. So it was only because we'd started the game with Auntie calling.
So dramatic.
Then you showed up and he's like, what's happening?
Sorry, I live here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm your best friend.
Literally. His favorite renter. But,
good.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's what I've been doing to entertain myself.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw your guys' Incredibles skins when I was up there.
Yeah. And he even paid to wear, like, now if we get into a specific type of car in the game, it turns into the, you know, in the very first movie where it's like the black and it turns into that. So I have a picture of the two of us in this car and it's just all Incredibles themed. It's so funny.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
Did you say that's one of your top 4 movies?
I think this could be one of our questions. We could talk about this.
One of our questions.
It's not currently in my top 4 letterbox because I think that one and Parent Trap are kind of interchangeable. But it is, I'd probably put it for sure top 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to really think about this because I don't know if I know what my top 4 movies are. Despicable Me is probably.
She's the Man.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so She's the Man, Despicable Me.
I love that.
Honestly, probably Divergent.
Yes. Same.
And I feel like I need a serious movie. No. I'm not here to live a serious life.
Yeah. Yeah. But are there any movies that have made you like really cry that you like love? I feel like it also depends on what movies you would want to rewatch over and over again.
Yeah. Honestly, The Fault in Our Stars.
That's what came to my mind.
And these are all like children's or YA movies.
I think that's fine.
But The Fault in Our Stars is such a good rewatch for me.
Especially if you feel like you need to cry.
Yeah.
I can't rewatch that one.
That's a good movie for me if I want to cry. Because I often have times when I'm like, I just feel like I need a good cry. And so I'll like put on a sad movie. The last time I did that, I think was with, I watched the movie The Last Song, is that what it's called? With Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
And I had seen it, but not in forever. So I literally didn't remember who dies.
Yeah.
So then I was sad at the end of that one.
That's a sad one.
So.
Yeah.
And
did you say 4? Okay. Yeah.
And what are your 4?
Well, my 4 currently on Letterboxd are The Count of Monte Cristo,
That's a serious movie.
That one I just love, but also I like it because I watched it with Dad so many times, so it's like, and it's a French, it's based in France. It's great. So Count of Monte Cristo, Divergent, Parent Trap is currently on there, and Sully. I love that movie. That one,
I've never seen it.
It's so.
I haven't seen half of your top 4.
That's okay. Sully's kind of intense because it's the plain lady on the Hudson, but it was so well done. I could rewatch that.
Our boy
Tom Hanks.
I
could rewatch that over and over again, and even I do. All right.
Man, good.
Yeah,
I love talking about movies.
I know. For our brother, he loves talking about it.
Should be here. He loves talking about movies.
He should.
P this week is for personality. We were inspired by our brother's guest appearance on his friend's podcast, and they talked a little bit about personality types, and I feel like specifically we like the Enneagram.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Simple.
I feel like that's a more recent personality test compared to some of the other ones.
Yeah.
I just know a lot about it because I studied it during that internship. Also, my therapist loves the Enneagram. So I feel like that's the one that I talk about most in my life and that I'm most familiar with.
Same.
Tell the people what you are.
I'm a 1, loud and proud.
She is a 1, loud and proud.
They call it the reformer. Is that it? Other people call it the perfectionist.
Yeah.
I think the official name is reformer, but
Yeah.
it's a lot about discipline, black and white rules,
Yeah.
etc. And you?
I'm a 4.
A beloved 4. The only 4. The only true 4 in this world.
Thanks.
Would you like to tell the people what a 4 is?
4 is the individualist or the romantic.
Mm.
We're an emotional kind. We're sensitive. We like to feel unique. I feel like those are the biggest ones. We have big feelings, and we do feel them. So I love being a 4. Natalie does not always love me being a 4.
Well, yes, that's correct. I'd be curious to know if there's science that backs this up, but I do feel like there's a lot of tension between a 1 and a 4 because a 1 tends to be a bit more logic driven.
Yeah.
Or gut. It's like the gut, the triad, right? Gut versus heart. 1 is gut.
Yeah.
And then whatever you are, I think, is the heart. It's like depends on what your motives are.
Well, and what's interesting is as a 4, when I'm in growth, I veer towards a 1.
Yeah.
So as a 1, when you are in weakness, you veer towards a 4.
Yeah.
So maybe she's just projecting.
It could be projecting. I will also say, though, you're not the only 4 I know. And unfortunately,
Not the only 4 that you hate either.
I don't hate you as a 4.
She hates 4s.
No, there have been a couple 4s in my life that just they've not been healthy 4s. They've been so emotional and let that run everything. And if you're not in control of it, it can be really harmful for people around you. So
yeah,
I think that I've had bad experiences with people who let their emotions run the show.
But I think you could say that for any type. I think that 1s being very black and white, if they're not in control of that, they come off as like very judgmental sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I think you and I have been unhealthy at the same times. So I'll use my therapist terminology. We ping each other. We ping off of each other, honestly.
Yeah.
Same thing with like mom and I. It's kind of just like our personalities sometimes. We're just not quite like understanding each other. So I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hold it against you. I love many aspects of 4s. I do. I really do.
No, she thinks I'm ridiculous and dramatic.
No, but I do think if someone, and this is not you, if someone is constantly saying like, oh, well, this is just who I am because of whatever, and they don't take any accountability for their actions, that as a 1 pisses me off. But I don't think you do that.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's me. I would like to think that I embrace like the creativity of a 4 and the like wanting to have personal expression. I think that's important to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does just skew my view of the world because of how I want to be perceived, you know? But that's something I'm working on.
And that's good. We're all works in progress.
So
what are the, do you want to talk, the question that's like, what are the core fears of your type and how does that impact you?
4s have a fear of like insignificance. And what else was it that it said? So the fears of 4s are basically being like unnoticed, inadequate. What was the first word I used? Insignificant. So like basically not being special or important. And then like their fatal flaw, Google says, is envy, which manifests as a deep-seated feeling of inadequacy and a tendency to focus on perceived flaws, often leading to self-pity and a sense of being misunderstood. I do struggle sometimes with a sense of being misunderstood.
I feel like it plays into one of the things you said you were going to work on a couple weeks ago, like letting people feel their own feelings kind of thing. Yeah. And you're seeking to understand. And I wonder if that is not in a bad way, but kind of projection because you feel like people might not understand you.
Yeah, I think something that's really frustrating to me is when I'm trying to like talk to someone and they just don't understand what I'm saying. And that has literally like ended friendships before, like misunderstanding, you know? So it's it is just, I'm like, I want people to see where I'm coming from, because I feel like I am always trying to understand where other people are coming from. But I was talking about this with a coworker the other day, like the whole like idea of, well, I would act this way, so I want other people to act this way. I would, like, we were in like a customer service situation. We were thinking like, well, I would treat people like this, so why aren't other people treating me like that?
Yeah.
And it's like, we're all our own people, and you can't expect other people to live their lives the way that you think one should live their life. Which is just something that's always, that's just part of life, that people do things differently, and not everyone has the same moral compass or common sense or just ideas about life. But yeah, I feel like comparison is probably something that I struggle with in general, but I'm sure it leads back to me being a 4. And like, just like obsession with how people are perceiving me. I think that is probably the base of a lot of my anxiety, is just like worried about other people's thoughts about me, which I can't control. That's my struggles as a 4.
Okay, so I'm a 1, and the core fears tend to be like corruption or being morally wrong. What's the fatal flaw?
The fatal flaw or core challenge for Enneagram 1 is repressed anger and resentment, which can manifest as self-righteousness, criticism, and a tendency towards perfectionism and control.
Yeah, I knew that, though. I've talked to therapists about that. Like, at least I'm in the know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting.
Do you think that's something that you're like kind of constantly battling with?
Which part? There were a lot of things that said. I do think the criticism, I know that because I'm so self-critical, that comes off on other people. So having to learn that not everyone holds themselves to the standard I hold myself to. Yeah. But it's hard because as a 1, I'm thinking, well, I have the best standard. Everyone should hold themselves to my standard.
Well, that feels kind of similar to like the way that I'm thinking. But for me, it's more about like, I do these things because I care about people. I want people to care the same way that I care. Yeah. Whereas yours is more about like rules and standards. Yeah. So it is just interesting that it's a similar mentality, but mine is about feelings and yours is about logic. Yeah. But I think it goes back to like the gut or the triad. Yeah. And I don't know everything about the Enneagram, but that is part of it is where that comes from. What's interesting is I feel like having a bunch of personality tests, I think, can help you see also the strengths in some of those weaknesses. Because like the Strengths Finder test, 2 of my top ones are like discipline and consistency. They can be seen as more of a weakness when you're looking at the 1. But when you then look at like how those are specific strengths, it's just, I think, helpful to have multiple tests in your back pocket to know like a more well-rounded picture. Yeah. I think with any one test, they just don't talk about the whole person. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. Because, well, and even with the Enneagram, it's like you can find aspects of yourself in every number. Like when I was first studying it and trying to figure out what I was, it was like, there were so many that I was like, I'm that. But yeah, it is nice to be able to have multiple things to reference, to like get a fuller understanding of yourself. I was just wondering, I'm like, I wonder at what point of our childhood we could have started to pinpoint. Not that we knew what Enneagram was, but I'm thinking like, okay, so when did those personality traits start emerging? I think for me, it was really young. Yeah. And then it's also, well, is it because I'm a firstborn? How much does that play into it? Nature versus nurture. It's an interesting conversation that we won't get into right now, but well, because I do feel like, to me, Enneagram 1 feels very firstborn. For sure. Firstborn daughter specifically. And I feel like Enneagram 4 feels very baby sister, youngest child. But our brother's a 4 too. So and it's like for him, was it certain circumstances that made him that way? Has he grown into that? Yeah. I do feel like, I don't know. I feel like he's developed into like a more proud version of a 4 as he's become an adult. I feel like he's he's explored it more. Because I don't remember him being as artistic as he is now when he was younger. Well, he was in different ways, I guess. But it is just cool to see him be a 4 as an adult. We were 4s together.
Oh. Speaking of our brother, should we go to the next segment?
Oh, yeah. A good segue to Oh, Brother.
This is the part of the show where we talk about whether or not we've spoken with our brother this week. The answer is yes.
Yeah, we both have.
Yes.
A sibling call.
We even did on the drive home from OKC.
Like an altar call.
Yes. Since we were doing individual episodes last week, Darian got his own personal episode.
Yep.
So that was good. And then, as a special treat, he had told us that he had guest starred on one of his friends' podcasts. And so he sent us the link.
They're coming for our brand.
So true.
Well, she's had the podcast longer than we have.
So that was a nice little treat to listen to that this morning.
Yeah.
Reach out to Darian if you want the link.
Yeah. It was a very sweet podcast.
Yeah.
I listened to it while I was getting my nails done and then driving to therapy. So it sparked some good thoughts for me on the way to therapy. It
was a great conversation.
Yeah. And I don't know. I love our brother.
I know. We love you.
I love hearing him talk. And he talked about being a 4. And I love that he's a 4.
Yes.
So it was very good.
Well, the second R this week for report is for rainy day and tornadoes. And this is where we talk about the weather.
Yes.
Was it yesterday we had the first tornado warning?
Technically yesterday at 5 a.m.
5 a.m. I think there'd been one other one, but it was the first one of the season where our weather radio went off. And listen, I know that the weather radio is important for safety because it will wake you up. But my, oh my, it wakes you up with such terror. And at least
gave me a fright.
It's so loud. And it's it blares and it's
because they don't want you to die in a tornado.
Listen, and I appreciate that. Thankfully, at least this time it was 6:45, 6:30. So it was morning enough. Sometimes when it goes off at 1 a.m., you just, for me at least, I then have to look at the news, which make sense that I have to watch a 30-second ad before I find out whether or not a tornado is on track to hit my house.
Here's an interesting question.
Pisses me off.
Yeah.
What?
How long do you think it would take for you to become severely injured and or dead from a tornado? If a tornado hit the house, how long would I have from impact of tornado to scurry to the closet or something?
Well, that's the thing. Blaine was talking about it the other day. Well, last tornado season. And he's like, you probably
the
other day last year, he says that you would the wind would really pick up. You'd start to hear it way more closely.
I feel even, sorry, no offense to your tornado warning radio, but I feel the tornado would warn you. I feel once it got close enough.
Yeah.
There's little birds flying around.
I know.
Do you see those red birds?
They're cardinals. I'm pretty sure.
Look at Natalie and her bird knowledge. I feel it would be crazy weather enough that something would hit the window or you'd really be aware of it.
I think
also,
so.
I feel to die, something would have to impale you.
Well, that's why you have to get away from windows.
Well, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If things start crashing through the window, I'm going to run to the closet.
Yeah.
So I feel I have plenty of time.
Maybe. Although we should watch the movie Twisters.
Oh, yes.
With Glenn Powell.
I haven't seen it yet.
I saw it and it
was Glenn Powell movie.
Yeah. Well, I watched the original and the new one back to back and they were both great. So maybe we can learn.
Speaking of Glenn Powell, whose co-star was Daisy Edgar Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Daisy Edgar Jones is playing in a new movie with Will Poulter.
Wow.
I love both of those people.
What's the movie?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
But I saw that. I don't know what it's about at all, but I saw the ad on Instagram and I said, Will Poulter. And then I said, Daisy Edgar Jones.
Whoa.
So
exciting.
Yeah, new movie alert.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that. But yes, I need to watch Twisters. Yeah. Sorry, Darian, for mentioning Glenn Powell.
Oh, he hates him?
Trigger you. Yes, Darian feels about Glenn Powell the way that we feel about Sydney Sweeney.
Interesting.
Sorry, Sydney Sweeney.
Interesting. Okay. Fair enough.
Sorry to dox Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, Glenn Powell reminds me of, who is it I'm thinking of? Ryan Gosling. But someone some could say that would be an insult to Ryan Gosling.
Some could say.
But I think it's because I watched the movie Fall Guy very closely to the time that I watched the movie Hitman. First one with Ryan Gosling, the second one with, and I don't know, they gave me kind of the same vibe.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, anyway, love them both. Well, I haven't seen Glenn Powell in that many things, actually. I don't know if I love him.
He did a great job in Twister. That's all I'll say.
Well, adding that to my list to watch.
Yes.
So, yeah, tornadoes. Freaking Oklahoma. Okay, T this week is for technology. T for tech. Oh, goodness gracious. Tech. I spent the first 20 minutes of my therapy session talking about social media and AI. Which is what we are here to discuss today.
I feel like the underlying, our thesis for this part of the show for tech is that you can't trust anything online.
Yeah.
We all need to get off the grid.
Yes.
In-person interactions only.
Yeah.
In-person shopping only.
Yep.
Don't trust the news.
No. Don't trust the government.
Don't trust anything anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Face-to-face only. Everything is propaganda. Everything is AI.
Everything these days.
It do be them damn phones.
It do be. And the new AI like image stuff just came out last week, and that's insane. Everything we redact everything from the first episode.
Yeah.
Trying to tell you how to spot AI is irrelevant now because it's so...
We were naive.
It's so good. You can't even tell. It's insane.
Yeah. The problem is now I get a little bit irritated, agitated, paranoid, frustrated, because at least once a day I come across a video on Instagram that I'm looking at and I'm like, this is giving me a vibe, and the vibe is AI. And then I go to the comments and nobody's freaking picking up the vibe.
Yeah.
So today I sent Natalie a video that was AI. And then I went back to my main page. I was scrolling. The same video popped up again from a different account. On the first video, no one in the comments was talking about AI. The second one, people were saying, this is AI.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's just depending on the crowd that sees it, it's so likely that nobody's going to be able to call out that it's AI. People are just going to believe it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating to me because I'm like, I don't want to see fake stuff. I'm not on the internet to see, everything on the internet is fake anyway. Nobody is actually posting their real lives. But I'm like, at least show me real life photos of your fake life. Don't show me fake photos.
Yeah. What's even more frustrating is that I feel like social media companies, they have these, you can toggle this is AI content. One, no one toggles that. Two, there's no real restrictions or laws or anything because this is happening so fast. And I feel like even with Anxious Generation, it didn't talk as much about AI, but a lot of the stuff I've been listening to is leaning more into how dangerous it is. And no one is doing anything to put rules around it.
Do you know what year the book, The Anxious Generation, was written or came out?
2024.
Oh, okay.
Last year.
Yeah.
It just passed its 1 year anniversary.
Do you know what year AI was created? When did ChatGPT become a thing?
I found out about ChatGPT in April of 2023.
Okay.
So
it's just a little...
And it really just hit the scene.
Yeah.
It's early 2023.
It's crazy how fast these things are progressing. But also, I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, I guess it's not that fast because if you think of when computers came to be, the era of the early 2000s where cell phones and computers and everything were becoming very common. It's that was all new technology, and now we have all that stuff. And so our new technology right now is AI, and that's scary. And that's why we're talking about this on our podcast. Even if Mom doesn't care about AI, this is for us.
Yeah.
Because in 20 years, we're going to be interested to hear our thoughts of when, because I don't know what technology is going to look like 20 years from now.
Right.
I hope that things chill out. It's just scary.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to live in a world where there's you just can't trust anything that you see.
I can imagine though that, 20 years ago when the iPhone first came out, people probably felt the same things.
Yeah.
But I do think technology, when it first comes out in any form, is just chaotic.
Yeah.
And then they put restrictions on it about 20 years too late. Even I feel like with the phones and kids, we're just now getting to that point where parents and people are stepping up to say, hey, we need more restrictions. So I do think it's the perfect storm of not only do kids have access to all the tech, but then you add in the AI and you add in maybe kind of a disengaged parenting generation. I dare say.
Dare say.
Now you have
generation?
iPad. Well, like the millennial parents now. I'm thinking about iPad kids.
Okay.
I'm thinking about parents who are using iPads as babysitters and
like
binkies.
Gen Alpha or Gen Beta?
For the Gen Alpha babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're iPad babies, right?
Those are the iPad babies. Okay. Their parents are millennials.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And millennials weren't necessarily, they were right before all the phone stuff happened.
Yeah.
Gen Z is really the one that had the phone childhood. So I think they're more on guard, whereas the millennials maybe aren't as tuned into that and the dangers of phones. So it is just crazy.
It is crazy.
So that's why we're going off the grid.
Yeah.
If you'd like to get future episodes of our podcast, you will need to dial in to a specific line.
Yeah.
We'll burn a CD and mail it to you or off grid.
We should put this on Spotify. How does one do that?
I'll Google it. Ask ChatGPT. Kids these days don't even Google. They ask ChatGPT.
That's crazy to me. I don't use ChatGPT for anything. And even my therapist will recommend me to use ChatGPT for stuff. And I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah.
When I said my whole thing about like, I hate AI today, she's like, well, what? Because I think she uses ChatGPT a lot. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying it's all bad, but I think, but then I had to acknowledge the fact that I'm like, okay, AI is not evil, but it's evil people using AI. Because my first thought with this like new image update thing is like, how are people going to use this in an inappropriate way?
Well, and they already have that. They have AI boyfriend, girlfriends that kids can download, and they have like AI. I mean, there's graphic stuff. I was just doing podcast notes for a different podcast that I work for, and they were talking about like robot stuff. You have these robots that are AI powered that can interact with people, and how people are replacing real relationships with AI robots, and it's just like super.
We should all watch the movie Her, one of Darian's top 4.
I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah, it kind of scares me, but
it's maybe not a scary movie. It took me like,
is it sad?
I don't even remember. Sorry, Darian. I need to watch it again because the first time it took me like 3 separate tries to watch it.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I'm bored. Boring. Yawning.
Sloppy.
Boring. Yawning. Sloppy. Lazy.
We should watch the movie.
Yep. Movie night.
Should.
Scary times. Also confusing times.
Even
what the heck is happening times.
Yeah. But I think that's even all times.
So true. But I don't know. AI just feels sinister, you know? Something about it.
So every once in a while I drop in a please. And even a thank you.
Yeah, I do that too because I was raised with manners.
Yeah, they take over. They'll be nice to me.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay. I could go on forever about this.
I know. But such a good topic. Okay.
Good topic.
Yeah. Anything else? Any final words for our mother?
Did you go to church this week?
How can I forget? Did you go to church this week?
Our favorite segment.
Our mom's favorite segment for sure.
Problem is, it's becoming a little bit predictable.
Uh-oh.
Because it's always, did you go to church this week? And yours is yes, and mine is
I did. But can I tell you, I showed up to church 10 minutes late. And I forgot that it was baptism weekend. And here's the thing, is that I got out of bed late. I was laying in bed, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, you know what? I should just go. It's okay if I'm 10 minutes late. I left, maybe I wasn't fully 10 minutes, but I left right at 9 here. And it's 5 minutes to get there. But because it was baptism Sunday, and I went to the early service, but there were so many people.
Oh, no.
And so it's like, I'm trying to slowly walk up the aisles to see how I can get in. People need to move to the center of the aisles. Drives me crazy. But anyways,
tell them.
I had to end up in the middle of worship. I'm like, I get to like the 5th from the front row, and finally I see an empty spot. And anyway, so now I need to start going actually on time so I don't have to do that again. But I did go to church. It was good.
Well, I saw our worship boy at work. So
basically the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's this girl that comes in that's a regular, and I know that she goes to so I don't know. I interact with a lot of churchgoers throughout the week.
I love that. That's good.
And we secretly know that each other goes to church.
Aww.
Well,
But not you.
But
It's okay.
yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
Anyway, I didn't go to church this week, but there's always next week.
It's always next week. Mom did send us those really cute sun catchers. Thank you, Mom.
Thanks,
from Cabo.
Mom. That was cute.
I know I chatted with her a couple different times.
Natalie's is hanging in the window.
It is.
Mine's in my bedroom.
Aww.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to Easter. It's going to be a fun time.
Me too.
Yeah.
I need to figure out what I'm going to wear. What will I wear?
That's all for this week.
Thanks for watching. Hey, Mom, here's the update.
Love you.
Bye. Oh, I meant to put my
No, I'm the baby sister. Ha 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 ha.
See, if you ever get pregnant and we can't and we can't announce it yet, because I do part of the announcement. We can sit and have a blanket on you while you podcast.
I love that.
Man,
Anything
good
else?
episode this week.
Mhm.
This was our cozy podcast episode week.
Cozy.
Yeah.